Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Right, Mr. Smith Kitchen, as always. And thought we'd do some dinner, like we do every Wednesday. And tonight, we are going to do a beefy nacho casserole. I know, right? Nachos, casserole, sounds kind of crazy. I ran across this recipe and thought, man, we need to try this. This sounds amazing. So we're going to. If this is your first video and you so inclined, I hope you enjoy this one, and I hope you check out some of my other ones. All we do is cook, bake, check out the garden, progress on the house. Basically, we are trying to build a community of good neighbors through food and communication. Along with me documenting me, Kris, the kids, things of that nature, for the future. But that being said, I hope you consider subscribing. If you're returning, I hope you also consider subscribing. But thank you. If you are a new subscriber, which we are growing in leaps and bounds, which is awesome. That's a sign that I'm at least doing something right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And what that does for us is, puts us out in the algorithm, grows our community, so we can have more people that are communicating through good food, communication, and, just being good, all around good neighbors, taking care of each other. That's what we should do. So anyhow, that being said, let's hop on down here to the stovetop, and we will start this casserole. Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, we're down here at the counter. So, things you will need for this is pretty much just a 9x13 pan. 9x13 pan, and we're gonna casserole dish, and you'll need a skillet to cook in. I always use cast iron. That's all we have as far as skillets and pans go, is cast iron, unless we're baking. So I have got 3 tablespoons of canola oil in this pan, and I've got it heating up. Now, once you got it heated up on a medium-high heat, we are going to add 1 medium to large size white onion, and I've got it chopped, kind of fine. Kris doesn't really care for big pieces of onion. She likes onion, we all do, but she just doesn't care for the big pieces, big chunks of it. So I've got it finely chopped, and we're going to put that in there. And then to this, I have got 2 large cloves of garlic, and I've got those minced up. And we're going to put those in there. And then what we're going to let that do is we're going to let that cook for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes maybe, until the onions start to get translucent, the garlic gets some good flavor going. But you want to keep it moving a little bit. You don't want to walk away from it, because garlic, if you let it sit, by golly, it'll start to burn and turn bitter. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen, but we want to give this a good couple minute head start, right? Okay, so for whatever reason, this part of the video didn't get recorded, and it's where we brown the hamburger. So I'll just tell you what I put in the skillet to go along with the onion and the garlic. After we got the onion and garlic softened, about 2-3 minutes in the skillet, I added 1 pound of hamburger. I also added 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, a half a teaspoon of, I used Mexican oregano. You can use regular oregano. The original recipe didn't really say either way, but I prefer Mexican oregano. It's got just a solid flavor to it, and it's more common in Mexican style dishes. A half a teaspoon of paprika was added to that. So you're gonna let that cook until the hamburger's browned and crumbled, and then we move on to the next steps. All right, sorry about that. I really don't know what happened. I probably hit stop when I was recording and didn't realize it. But anyhow, back to the rest of the video. All right, so we've got our hamburger brown. A couple honorable mentions, so to speak. I am using 80-20 ground beef, and you want that oil, that fat in this dish for the flavor. Plus, it helps with the spices. And I started my oven right after we got done talking a second ago, to get it up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So now that we have our meat browned, we're gonna add some stuff to it, right? I mean, like we didn't have enough to add to it. And, oops, sorry. I forgot to grab something right quick. I'm always forgetting something. My brain is just so absent-minded at times. All right, so now to add to this, I have got 3/4 cup of taco sauce. Use your favorite taco sauce. That is completely up to you, what you use. But you want 3/4 cup of it. If you like Ortega, or there's a local, like Mexican grocery store that you go to that has your favorite taco sauce, use it. To that, I am going to add 1.5 cups of chunky salsa. We're using our favorite chunky salsa, which happens to be the one we make. So we're going to throw that in there. And if you didn't know, a pint is 2 cups. So I just use 3/4 of that. And then there's one more thing I need to add. Yes, 1 cup of beef broth. So I'll just use the same cup I had the taco sauce in. We'll put 1 cup in there, but if you don't have a measuring cup per se, you're looking at 8 ounces of the jar of taco seasoning. You're looking at, in this case, 3/4 of a pint jar of salsa, and then 1 cup, which is half a jug of that beef broth. And we're going to take that, and we are going to let it cook for a little bit until it starts to thicken up. It's going to thicken up a little bit as it cooks. Yeah, you'll get some of that moisture out of the salsa and the taco seasoning and all that. And once it starts to thicken a little bit, we can move on. Okay, so we let her go for about 3 or 4 minutes, and we got her nice and thickened up, looking good, bubbling, doing its thing, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn the heat off. And to this, I have got 1 can of black beans that I'm going to throw in here. And those are drained and rinsed. Yeah, well, as rinsed as can be without leaving the can at any rate. Now, Kris doesn't care for black beans. She'll eat them, but she doesn't really care for them, so I don't use them very often. I like black beans, especially when they're in a dish. But let's say you don't like black beans, you don't care for them. You can leave them out. You can throw in some chili beans or some red beans, pinto beans, any kind of bean you like, whatever you and your family enjoy. That's kind of the beauty of cooking. You can put in what you like, right? Doesn't have to be necessarily what we're doing right now. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is I have 1/4 cup of cilantro chopped up right here, and I'm going to take a majority of it and I'm going to throw it in. We're going to save the rest to sprinkle on the top when it's done. And then that's it. I mean, as far as making the filling for this casserole, it is so quick and easy. I mean, the whole process might take 35-40 minutes. And that's with chopping everything up and it cooking in the oven. So our oven is ready at 400 degrees. Let me get this cleaned up. We'll get down here to the counter and we'll start assembly. All right, hold on for me 1 second. All right, got everything kind of cleaned up, situated as best I could. So what we have is our 9 by 13. I went ahead and just took some vegetable spray and sprayed it in there to ensure nothing sticks because we're using cheese. And the first thing, what I did was I went ahead and crushed up an entire bag of tortilla chips. It said 6 cups worth, but I just did the whole bag, which is about 6 cups worth. Might be a little more, who knows, but we're gonna live on the edge. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna layer some of the tortilla chips on the bottom here, right? And if I don't use all these, I'll put them in a bag and we'll use them for something else. So we got our layer of chips, right? If you're doing 6 cups, exactly, like you want to measure it out, it is like half of it, like 3 cups, a little heavy on the 3 cups. After we get that on there, we're going to go ahead and grab something to scoop our filling in with. We'll go ahead and take our filling, and I want to say it said it's like 3.5 cups worth of filling on here, but we're just gonna put it on there until it's nice and even. Okay, so we got our layer of filling on there. The next thing we need to put on this is it says chips, beef, more chips, So we're gonna put another layer of chips on there. Remember, the best part of nachos is the chips. I mean, the filling is too. This is pretty much everything you would have in loaded nachos. The only thing I didn't add to this that I think I would have if I wasn't following fairly closely another recipe is I would have put some black olives in this, but you can always add those to the top. So on top of those chips, I have got 3 cups of cheese right here. It says to use a Mexican blend cheese. We're just not a fan of pre-shredded cheese, even though the oil they spray on it to keep it from sticking together is a food grade oil. If we don't have to have it in our dish, I don't want it. So what this is here is a blend of pepper jack, Monterey Jack, and cheddar, and a little bit of Colby. And I'm just going to take that and I'm going to put that on top. You know, you're going to put, you want 3 cups, you're going to put about 2 cups of it total on this layer here. So we'll get that on there. And then once we get that on there, I probably did closer to 4 cups total, but that's all right. We'll go ahead and put the remainder of our filling on there, which that's hot. So let me do this. Then we'll go ahead and even that out. Like such. Doesn't that just look delightful? I mean, really? And then we're going to add the remainder of our chips if we're using 6 cups. And we're going to add the rest of our cheese on there. And you can go as heavy and light on this cheese as you want. Remember, like I said just a second ago, it's your dish. You know, you make it what you want it to be. You know, if you want to add, what do you eat on your nachos? You know, a lot of times the nachos, I mean, when we eat them, yeah, we'll add black olives, sour cream, jalapenos, a little more salsa. So we got that on there looking good. Now, all we have to do is put it in the oven. So, and in your oven, you want your, oh, wait. I'm skipping a step. I'm a bad host. We need to put this, we're gonna put foil over this for the first little bit. So we'll go ahead and get our foil out. Get that on there. And you want to try to get it to where it's not going to touch the cheese. I think we'll be good because it sits lower than the pan. Now we'll put this in the oven. And you want your rack, your top rack, to be in the upper third of the oven. So it'd be like, in my case, I've got 7 slots. I'm in slot number 2. And then I will hit the timer and let that go. So let's talk about what we're going to do. Sorry, as you stare into the abyss of what is aluminum foil. We're going to bake this for 20 minutes, okay? 15 to 20 minutes. You should be able to look in on the casserole, lift the foil up, or in my case I have glass so I can just look. And when it's bubbling, when you can see it kind of bubbling along the edges, go ahead and take your foil off. So 15-20 minutes, foil off, and then you're going to bake it for another 5 to 10 minutes until that cheese on the top gets a nice golden brown, golden and brown. That way, you know it's done and it looks good and it'll be nice and ooey and gooey. So when I come back, we'll take it out of the oven and see what's going on. All right, see you in a second. Okay, so our timer went off. I removed the foil, let it run for another 5-7 minutes till I was satisfied with the way it looked. Golden brown, a little dark on the edges. And let's take a look and see what we got. Now, I did let this bad boy sit for like, sorry, about 10 minutes after I pulled it out of the oven. So that way it would not melt my face when we tried to eat it. That is always a plus. But, I mean, there we are. I think it looks fantastic. Yeah, I'll bring it in a little closer if you like. You know, I don't think you could argue that one bit. It looks like the ultimate in nachos. So now we'll go ahead and we're gonna serve us up some. See how it tastes. What do you say? I am gonna take a. Well, now you know what? We'll just go ahead and load it up with some of our favorite toppings. I don't have all of them. I don't have any black olives. I thought I had a thing of black olives downstairs. Turns out I do not. But that's all right. Get that on there. There is what we look like, you know, in all our fame and glory. And that just looks like a slice of heaven. Well, a piece of heaven at any rate. So let me get you down here. We'll go ahead and top this bad boy while we're at it. Now, scoot you back. Sorry, we talked about firing the cameraman until we realized it was me. So we're just gonna have to run with it as we can. All right, so things you can top it with. I'm sure Kris is going to put sour cream on it. I'm not a sour cream person. I am if it's in it, but I think if you put it on after the fact, it takes away from some of the flavor. So I'm going to take some fresh tomatoes and put that on there, because why not? We have some green chilies. Actually, let's put the cilantro on next. Should probably put it on first, as not to take away from it. You know, if you don't like cilantro, I find is something people either love or they hate. I've got some green chilies here. You throw that on there. Yeah, I think next time, if we make this, I'm going to put the green chilies in it instead of on top of it. Although either way is fine with me. And then we're going to grab a couple jalapenos and put that there, like that. It's a lot of green, I know. We could probably even put a little more cheese on there if we wanted to. But there we are, loaded. I think it looks gorgeous, myself. And, yeah. So, there's that. We're gonna we'll give it a good old shot here. Give it a good old college try. Sorry once again. There's a lovely picture of my forehead, or the top of my head at any rate. So then you have to ask yourself, fork or spoon? I'm gonna go spoon on this. I did notice though, because like I was thinking to myself, you know, that bottom layer of chips, the chips inside the dish are gonna get soft. But where we took the foil off and let it bake and some of that evaporate, those chips on top are gonna be crunchy with that cheese. And that is going to be quite an amazing thing. And even though I let it set, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's steaming. You know, it's still good and plenty hot. But let's give it a try. I know it's casserole, but that's like the best loaded nachos I've ever had. That's a solid piece of work, hands down. I think black olives. Wait, I'm on a black olive kick lately. Not even sure why. I've been eating them at work too. But yeah, I'm digging this. A little hot. But it's okay. So let's review a little. I probably spent 5 minutes prepping up a couple of vegetables, garlic and onion. That was really only the prep work we had to do. We spent about 10 minutes on the oven top, on the stove top, putting everything together. After that, in the oven, 20 minutes, 5-10 minutes with the foil off, you have a dish. So 40 minutes total, almost all of that is spent inside the oven with minimal work for you. That is the bomb. That's a meal. You could side this with some refried beans, You can put refried beans in it. You could have it by itself. You could make some Mexican corn, you know, or a Mexican corn salad, or just about anything. Some more chips. You could scoop that up with chips. I think you're in. Give this a try. Let me know if you do. You can leave me a comment down below. Find us on Facebook. It's Mr. Smith's Kitchen. It's a Facebook group. And I'm trying my best to be on there a little more than I have been. I've been kind of anti-social media, not by choice, but by time. But we have good conversation there, share recipes. I try to throw recipes on there as often as I can. There's always some recommendation on there of some sort. But that being said, tomorrow for dessert, not a clue. I never know. I never know what we're doing for much of anything until that day. I get up well before the sun comes up, about 4 in the morning, even on my days off. So that usually gives me time to think, look. Sometimes I'll do a little research early, and that's usually when I find 2 or 3 things to put in the batter's box, but I can never decide on which one, and I usually don't decide until the morning of. And then I just set everything out that I need that morning, so I can either start it then or later on in the day, depending on what it is we're making. So, like I said, no idea until tomorrow what we're going to do for dessert, but until then, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. It's going to make their day a whole lot better. They may need to hear that. They may have had a rotten day, depending on when you see them. And it's going to make you feel good to tell them. I guarantee it. And if you make them some of this Nacho Casserole, I guarantee you they're going to know that you care. And it's going to lead to some good conversation. You know, and you can be like, oh, I slaved all day on that. And they'll never be worse the wiser. Invite the neighbor over to have some. You know, invite all your neighbors over to have some. Make 2 of those. Heck, it's easy. So, until tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I'll see you then. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.